We took a train to Busan. It takes 3 hours on a bullet train. When we arrived, the first thing that stood out was the huge Texas street sign next to Chinatown, right outside the train station. The neighborhood is alleged to be the sex worker hub of the city, which may have been why we got a good deal on our hotel. Also within walking distance is a steep little neighborhood with a cable car. It was built to help the citizens living in the area, but tourists can also hitch a free ride to the top. Busan is stunning. We wandered the neighborhood and made our way into a cultural center where some nice grannies guided us through a literal old-school Korean photo shoot. I made Dan walk down the 168 steps, and we stumbled upon all these little cartoons who have a backstory. One has perfect pitch. One can beatbox and rap when he's hungry, and one can sing high notes when she eats mayonnaise. The next day, Korea was experiencing a cold front. We went to the mall that had the Running Man experience, based on a hit Korean TV show. Once we were there, we figured we might as well visit Poopland because it's right next door.
Touch your hips. And wish for good bowel movement.
So here in Poopland, you gotta work your way through these mazes. Not that way. I think that's cheating.
What?
I think that's cheating.
I don't think so. I'm being digested.
Here at Poop Club. We then headed off to the Guinness World Record largest department store to a traditional Korean spa. So we just finished spending like 2 hours at this Korean spa. If you've never been to one, definitely recommend it. As long as you're comfortable being naked. Because there will be a lot of nudity. And then after you're naked with a bunch of people and take a bath, there's this 3-floor place that's just filled with different types of rooms, and you go in there and it's supposed to be healing. I don't know how healing it actually is, but definitely experience of Korea. So yeah, come to a Korean spa. Afterward, we tried to explore the gay area, but it was very quiet. The following day, we went to a historic village, the Gamcheon Cultural Village. The village is formed by houses built in staircase fashion on the foothills of a coastal mountain, earning it the nickname Machu Picchu of Busan. Many alleys that cut through the area are decorated with murals and sculptures created by the residents. The next day, we wanted to visit Korea's most beautiful temple. But upon exiting the train station, we were lured by the sight of a roller coaster. After some rides and lunch, we were back on track towards the temple. The temple was first built in 1376 by a great Buddhist teacher. However, the temple was then destroyed when Japan invaded Korea. It was then rebuilt in 1930s. This space truly does feel spiritual. And if you ever find yourself in Busan, I definitely recommend visiting it. We ended that night by wandering through our neighborhood a bit. Korea is filled with all sorts of museums. The next day, we ended up at the Korean Cinema Museum, which was attached to the Strict Eye Museum where Dan and I went a little nuts with our photo shoots. We then made our way to the Busan Diamond Tower. You can get a great view of the entire city. And if you solve riddles along the way, you win a prize at the end. We stopped at Korea's largest fish food market, just to check it out because Dan doesn't eat fish and I'm vegetarian. We then went to a pet cafe, which felt slightly exploitative, but it was definitely an experience. The next day, it was time to head back to Seoul. Seoul is surrounded by mountains, so there are tons of places to go skiing. We met up with some friends who were also in town, and Dan got a skiing lesson. We then met up with other friends in town for some drinks.
The train stopped running. And
Train stops running. Yeah. The last Wednesday of every month is South Korean Cultural Day, which means all the museums are free. Dan and I made the most of it by hitting up several art museums, one which had a pretty intense exhibition by an American artist. We then made our way to the National Museum, which was huge, and we got to learn about South Korea's history. I had completely forgotten how Japan acted like a bunch of dicks back in the day. They were invading countries and siding with the Nazis. On our last day, we went to a futuristic building filled with art and just places for people to sit around and relax. As an American, I really appreciated how South Korea had so many places to just hang out for free and bathrooms available everywhere. On our last night, we did a little shopping and said goodbye to new friends.
say hi, Bo. Hi, Bo. Well, you got Latinos in the house in Korea.
I didn't know what to expect out of South Korea, but I fell in love with a country that beautifully retained its history and culture while pushing itself fearlessly into the future. I would definitely come back, just probably not in the winter. This is Eduardo Culbo. I like these swanky gloves that they give you. Don't get your hands dirty.